Most people believe strength is loud. They believe endurance must be announced, suffering must be seen, and pain must be explained. Yet, in ancient Japan, the highest form of strength was almost invisible. It was called Gaman, the ability to endure the unbearable without complaint, without display, and without seeking recognition. This was not weakness. It was discipline refined into silence. Long before modern ideas of resilience, Japanese warriors were trained to suffer without collapsing inward. Bushido did not teach comfort, and Zen did not promise relief. They taught composure under pressure, dignity in hardship, and control when instinct demanded reaction. Gaman was not about suppressing pain, but about refusing to be ruled by it. This principle shaped warriors who could stand firm while everything around them fell apart. Chapter 1. The Weight That Is Not Seen. Gaman emerged from a culture shaped by earthquakes, war, and impermanence. Japanese philosophy did not ask how to avoid suffering, but how to carry it correctly. In Zen monasteries and samurai households, endurance was practiced daily through restraint, repetition, and silence. To complain was to leak energy, to endure quietly was to preserve it. Miyamoto Musashi, Japan's most renowned swordsman, embodied this principle without naming it. His writings reveal a man who accepted hardship as a condition of mastery. He slept outdoors, wandered without security, and trained without comfort. Nowhere does he lament his conditions. Instead, he sharpened himself within them. Gaman was never about pride, it was about alignment. When a warrior accepted hardship fully, resistance faded, and clarity emerged. Pain remained, but it no longer dictated behavior. Chapter 2. A Modern Man Under Pressure. Kenji was not a warrior. He worked in a logistics firm, managed deadlines, supported a family, and lived in constant low-grade tension. His life was not dramatic, but it was heavy. Every day felt like carrying a weight that no one else could see. When pressure mounted, Kenji complained quietly to himself. He replayed conversations, imagined confrontations, and nursed resentment. None of this changed his circumstances. It only drained his attention and weakened his resolve. One evening, exhausted and restless, he came across a short passage from a Zen text discussing Gaman. It described endurance without bitterness and suffering without protest. The idea unsettled him, not because it felt impossible, but because it felt true. Chapter 3. Endurance is not suppression. Kenji initially misunderstood Gaman. He thought it meant forcing himself to feel nothing. That approach failed quickly. Suppressed frustration does not disappear. It accumulates and distorts perception. Ancient Japanese philosophy never advocated denial of reality. Zen teaches direct contact with experience. Gaman does not erase pain, but it removes the impulse to dramatize it. The warrior feels fully, but does not perform his suffering. This distinction is subtle, yet decisive. Kenji began observing his reactions instead of feeding them. When frustration arose, he did not rush to justify it. He allowed it to exist without commentary. This simple shift reduced its power. Chapter 4. The Discipline of Non-Complaint. In Bushido, speech was considered an extension of character. To complain unnecessarily was to reveal inner disorder. Warriors trained themselves to speak only when action was required. Silence was not avoidance, it was precision. Kenji decided to experiment with one rule. For 30 days, he would not complain verbally or internally about things he could not immediately change. No commentary, no rehearsed grievances, no silent arguments. Only observation and action. The first week was difficult. The urge to explain his burden felt automatic. But gradually, he noticed something unexpected. His energy stopped leaking outward. He became calmer, not because life improved, but because his resistance weakened. Chapter 5. Small non-negotiable actions. Gaman is sustained through systems, not heroic effort. Samurai did not endure through bursts of courage, but through daily conditioning. Cold mornings, repetitive drills, and strict routines trained the nervous system to remain steady. Kenji adopted a similar approach. He chose one small, non-negotiable action, beginning each morning in silence for 10 minutes. No phone, no planning, no commentary, just breathing and posture. This practice was not meant to relax him. It trained him to remain present without stimulation. Over time, this quiet discipline reshaped how he met difficulty throughout the day. Chapter 6. surrender without collapse. One of the most misunderstood aspects of Gaman is surrender. Western thinking equates surrender with defeat. In Japanese philosophy, surrender means aligning with reality instead of fighting it blindly. Musashi wrote about accepting conditions fully before acting decisively. A warrior who resists reality wastes strength. A warrior who accepts it can move freely within it. Kenji stopped asking why his situation was unfair. He focused instead on what was required of him now. This shift did not remove difficulty, but it removed resentment. In its place, clarity emerged. Chapter 7. Identity forged in silence. Over months, Kenji's identity began to change. He spoke less, but with more weight. He reacted slower, but with greater accuracy. People noticed something different, though few could name it. This is how Gaman works. It transforms character quietly, without announcement. The strength it produces does not seek validation. Ancient warriors understood that endurance shapes identity. You become what you repeatedly withstand without complaint. This is why Gaman was considered a moral virtue, not merely a coping strategy. Chapter 8. The Calm Center Zen describes the mind as a still pond disturbed by ripples. Gaman does not eliminate the ripples, it deepens the pond. When the surface is disturbed, the depths remain unmoved. Kenji's life did not simplify. Deadlines persisted, expectations remained, and fatigue still visited him. But he was no longer consumed by these forces. He had developed a calm center that did not depend on circumstances. This calm was not emotional numbness, it was disciplined presence. Pain could pass through him without taking residence. Conclusion: the strength that remains. Gaman is not endurance for applause, it is endurance for alignment. It asks not how loudly you can express suffering, but how quietly you can carry it while remaining whole. In a world that rewards display, Gaman restores dignity. In a culture that externalizes weakness, it returns strength inward. This principle has survived centuries because it addresses something timeless: the human encounter with hardship. The warrior's path was never about avoiding suffering, it was about standing correctly within it. When complaint falls away, what remains is clarity, restraint, and an unshakable inner ground.